Breaking tonight, the Democratic governor of Connecticut, Ned Lamont, is aggressively rolling back pandemic restrictions in the Constitution state, while Texas officials are turning the tables on the president's prehistoric put-down of their decision to reopen.
And of course, that word Neanderthal would come to the president very quickly, because if you look up the definition of it, it says Neanderthal were hunter-gatherers. And of course, that would be the name of his son, who gathers millions for his family with countries around the world.
Uh-oh, he went there. Let's begin with tonight's panel. Democratic strategist Kevin Walling and author of the upcoming book, They Never Let a Crisis Go to Waste, The Truth About Disaster Liberalism, Jason Chaffetz. Great to have you both back.
Hey, Shannon, good evening.
So listen, speaking of having you back, Beto is back because he's had a lot to say about this decision for Texas to reopen, and he's not mincing words. Here's what he says.
They literally want to sacrifice the lives of our fellow Texans for, I don't know, for political gain, to satisfy certain powerful interests within the state. And this isn't hyperbole. It's hard to escape the conclusion that it's also a cult of death.
Jason, a cult of death. They want to kill people.
That's an absurd notion. People who want to support freedom and liberty and individual responsibility, people making their own choices. Look, if you don't feel comfortable going into a business with people that don't have masks, then don't go into that business. But I don't believe that the rhetoric at that level, saying that they literally want to kill people, is productive, nor do I think it's accurate. I think it's intended to scare people. COVID is scary enough without the people like Beto O'Rourke trying to say that Republicans somehow want to kill people. That's absurd.
Well, Kevin, we now have a Democratic governor who is also rolling things back in Connecticut. Is he also part of the death cult?
Yeah, Shannon, I mean, I think Governor Lamont of Connecticut is listening to his health experts and is following the curve in that state, and that's in connection to what they're seeing on the ground. You see Governor Kay Ivey, for example, in the neighboring state of Alabama, right next to Texas, who extended her mask mandate for another month based on science. And what we now know out of Texas with Governor Abbott, unfortunately, is his announcement about the mask policy actually took his science advisors and health advisors by surprise. We are so close. 80 million Americans have at least one dose in this country. We're outpacing every other industrialized country in this world. President Obama said we'll have adults in this country will get the vaccine by May. We just have to keep up the pressure in terms of masking for these next 3 months until everyone has that vaccine.
I want to talk about something that Joy Ann Reid had to say last night. She also thinks that it is that there are a number of states that don't care. She said about black and brown people, the affluent people just want them working in factories and service industries. That's what she said on her show. Then she tweeted this. I'll say it again. People on the right would trade all the tax cuts for the ability to openly say the N-word, like, quote, in the good old days. To them, not being able to be openly racist and discriminatory without consequence is oppression. Trump is the avatar for this freedom. Jason.
I mean, she does more to try to divide people, put labels on them, to put the stereotypes on people. This does not help build the country and bring us back together. It seeks to further divide us. And she makes these sweeping generalizations about where we live or what our skin color is. I thought we were trying to move away from that. Wasn't that the message of Dr. Martin Luther King, to get past those things? And yet I see her trying to throw flame on this and just irate, get people irate. It's just not productive. And it's sad to see, because the message could be much more positive.
And Kevin, for a lot of people, it's a very divisive message. People feel, again, labeled and accused of being racist, of wishing other people harm, for them to die or to, be treated in some despicable way. When you tell half the country that's how you view them, it's not a message of unity.
Yeah, Shannon, I mean, we've got to come together with Americans. Like I said, we're so close to getting beyond this crisis. And I think what Joy-Ann Reid was speaking to, and I'm not here to defend her, she can defend herself really effectively, but what I think she was speaking to is the healthcare disparities that we see in this country with black and brown communities. African Americans, Latinos are 5 times more likely, if they come down with COVID, to be hospitalized than their white counterparts. We've got to have authentic conversations about race and COVID in this country that don't put people down, don't upset people in terms of making people feel less than, but let's address these iniquities in this healthcare system as part of this coronavirus that's ravaging this country.
Something else that has come out today, a number of new poll numbers, a number of Americans think that what happened on January 6th is being politicized to, again, label people who would support the president, former President Trump, or to go to one of his rallies or wear a MAGA hat are not good folks. Town Hall says this: did the president expect the orders, the executive orders for President Biden, which were part of these polls as well, to sit well with the American people? Well, they didn't. A sizable majority, also 64%, believe the January 6th riot at the U.S. Capitol was being used by politicians to suppress legitimate political movements. The same percentage believe cancel culture is a threat to our freedom. Jason.
Well, I think 100% of the people on both sides of the aisle just condemned what happened on January 6th, and that everybody who broke the law, attacked police officers, broke into those offices should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. I think Republicans have been very consistent in saying that should also happen in other instances around the country. And as far as the executive orders go, Joe Biden has gone far beyond. He chastised people for using executive orders. Now he goes to the extreme and he does things like making biological males participate with females in high school sports, the Keystone Pipeline. Those are widely unpopular, and I think got off to a wrong foot for the president to use the executive orders to make that policy.
Quick final word to you, Kevin.
Yeah, Shannon, I think we get in trouble in this country, and we've had a conversation about this before, when we paint people with a broad brush. 74 million Americans voted for Donald Trump. 81 million Americans voted for Joe Biden. There were just 1,000 or so insurrectionists at the Capitol. That is not indicative of the movement that Donald Trump built and should be condemned across the board.
We end on an agreement. Kevin and Jason, thank you both. Good to see you.
Thanks, Shannon.
Thanks, Shannon.
Real News Roundup is next.